Okay, so for this final video, this is the third video I made today of the basic canes, we're going to do a jelly roll. And I know I have a lot of weird tones here, but I have a plan for these in the future. But either way, we need to start off making a basic jelly roll. And most of these are scrap colors mixed together. This is from that pendant with the multiple greens that I rolled the little balls. Here's just some brown, some excess gold I had. So anyways, so we're going to start off with a little bit of gold, and none of these canes are going to be big because I only plan on using it for 1 or 2 pendants, so I don't need tons of it. But either way, we're going to start off with taking some gold all of these are conditioned, and I want to make a nice skinny strip because I only want my cane about that tall maybe. So let me roll this out. Again, it's already conditioned. So what I'm going to do is, maybe I'm going to make it fatter. Let me make it fatter. Because I'm going to bring it down. Now, I don't want any of this in this jelly roll to be a thick one, so I want it to be thinner. So I'm going to take it down to maybe a setting 3 thickness. That will make it longer. Okay, so that's my strip of gold. And on the gold, what I'm going to do is use this darker brown. So I made this kind of mustardy, ugly olive green brown. And then I have a little bit of it that I added some black to. So I just added black to this one. And I'm going to take this one, and I'm also going to roll it out on the same setting. I want these about, well, maybe this I'll go down to a setting. I have this on a setting 3. I'll probably take this to a 4. So it's just a hair thinner than the gold. Okay. And then all we're going to do is cut a little strip. And again, you can make as much or as little as you want. I'm going to cut a straight edge here and a roughly straight edge here. And hopefully, I'm going to make this a little longer. So it could be a lot skinnier. So I'm going to fold this in. Run this through my pasta machine, so like that, and then I'll fold it in half, just get rid of that center line. There we go. Now I should fit it. So I'm just going to lay it on, and this is making a basic jelly roll, and you can use whatever you want for colors. And then we'll cut this. And we will cut, and yes, my fiance is down here watching his podcast, so you might hear it in the background. Cut this, and we'll cut it all even. Just like that. And I like to thin out the end a little bit. Some people will cut it on an angle, but I have a hard time cutting it on the angle, so I'm just going to take my roller and thin out the end, and that's where I'll start spiraling. So it's just a little skinnier, and then you just start spiraling it up. And again, yes, you could have taken your blade and cut that. You know, we could cut it like that, you know, so you have an angle. It just makes a nicer start of a spiral. So then just begin by folding this over, and this is going to be a basic jelly roll. Hang on, I wanted to look. Did I want the gold on the outside or the dark? I don't think it mattered. This is going to be the dark brown on the outside. If I wanted it the gold, I would have done it with the brown facing me. Your first roll you want to keep really tight and try to keep as much air out, but it's not the end of the world if you do happen to get air in there, because again, I'm going to reduce this to a different size. Okay, and again, some people will. Now, depending, if you want this line showing right here, when you reduce, you leave it like this. If you don't, then again, I would, is it this angle? Try to cut an angle so that way the brown meets up with the brown. and it's a closed one. This will kind of close your end if you cut it on an angle like that, because this brown is now showing and not the gold. No gold is showing on the end there. Okay, so that's that. And again, we're going to reduce it down because I don't want these big. So with our fingers, we're just going to, and none of these are complex canes. So you can do a lot of rolling on these basic where there's not a big pattern on the inside. You totally can. I just like to kind of go this way so I don't get in the habit of rolling something, because I don't want to accidentally roll a more complex cane just because I'm in the habit of doing it that way. Okay, so we have a basic jelly roll with this gold and this muddy brown. Okay, so this, I'm going to be making a couple different things here, and these we'll be using in a project coming up. Okay, that's a little distortion right there, but I'm not going to cut that much off. I'll save this. The next thing we're going to do is, I don't know what people call it, but I'm going to call it like maybe a double bullseye or something. I have no clue what to call it, and I don't know if there's a name for it. There may be. So with this one, we're going to take some gold and we're going to make a little log. And this again is similar to a bullseye, but with multiple layers, like a target, more or less. Maybe a little bit more. And again, I just recently conditioned all of this, so it's not too hard or anything. So get yourself a little sausage. And I don't really care about the mica on this. I was just looking for like a yellowy kind of color, a mustardy color, because this is going to be a very muted piece. Okay, so we have a little sausage. Then I was planning on wrapping it in this greenish color or a turquoisey color or whatever. This one's more green, but I think a turquoisey would go well. So let me cut a strip of this. But I do not want it this thick. That's way too thick. So again, how thin or how thick is going to depend on you and playing a little bit. So I'm going to roll this out. Hopefully this is wide enough. Yep. I'm going to roll this out. Let me take it down and just look. So it's on a 0 right now, so I'll take it down to a 2. Yeah, I'll take it down to a 4. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay. Let's cut a straight edge here. Or here, or wherever. And kind of cut it to size. And then we're going to wrap this around. And again, this is a simple bullseye that we did in the other video. Now, either if your clay's thin enough, you can just leave it on it and just slice down. Or if you do a little press here, you'll get a little line in the clay right there, and that will roughly tell you where to cut. And say, hey, it happens to overlap. Well, okay, shave it off. You know, don't beat yourself up about stuff like that. It's just not worth it. Just do a little roll on the seam and on the ends. Okay, and then I also wanted to wrap this in this reddish color. Now this is fuchsia and a little bit of red, but it's just scraps that I had, so it's not quite red. On camera it looks a little more red. It's more pinky. And this one I'm also going to roll out. This is on a 4. This one, I don't know, because it's going to go on this backing, so I don't want it to be crazy noticeable. When you guys see this, hopefully it'll come together like my mind is thinking. I want it to be a little different. Let's do a 5. It's either going to be thicker or thinner than what I was just dealing with. And I could make multiple of this one. You know, I could have the green really thin and the red really thick, or whatever. You could, you know, vary them. That's the whole fun of it, is varying and just tweaking everything.
So the pendant definitely did not work out in the project, but it is what it is. So I figured I'd still show you guys the canes I made for it.
Cut that to length. And we're going to wrap that around green. So again, something you can do with a bullseye just by adding more layers. And I have done all of these canes many times in projects. I just didn't call it the specific thing. Okay, so there's a second one I'm going to use in the same project. And then the next one is I was going to take this pinky color and make another jelly roll out of this and the dark brown. So let's see how much of this dark brown I have. Gotta flatten it out. So I think it's going to have to be fairly thin because I don't have much of it. And I want a cane something like that size. It doesn't need to be huge, but that's about all I have of it. Let's see if I can get a little bit longer. Let's just clean up the edges. And a little air bubble. And we'll just lay this one on this one. That one I have on the brown on the outside, so I think I'm going to put the brown on the inside of this one. Cut it at a little angle. And again, just start rolling it up. Some people use acrylic blocks to do this. So once they get it started, they'll take an acrylic block and kind of roll like this. Too much stuff in my way, but this can help roll it like this if you want. I just tend to use my fingers. I don't usually always have an acrylic block, but I just used it. Oops, actually. So again, if you want the end to be open like this, it will look like that, like with the brown showing. Or if you wanted it to be fully closed, you want to cut it at an angle. So I do think I want to cut it at an angle so it's fully closed. Just a little angle there. So that way the red meets the red. Dog hair. Just pull the red around to meet the other red. Okay. That one I'm going to reduce just a hair. Oh, I got to reduce that target bullseye cane type thing. Just a hair as well. Okay, so we have two jelly rolls we just made, and then modified bullseye. I don't know what to call it. It probably has a name, but I can't think of it at the moment. If it does. Now, I didn't mean for these colors to be super separate. I want all of this to be very tonal. And I should reduce this one as well, just a hair. Again, I'm mainly putting pressure right here on my thumb, right in the middle. That way we're pushing the air out. So I'm doing all of this because I'm making a project. But you've already seen a jelly roll in this. So if you don't want to keep watching, you don't need to keep watching. The jelly roll is done. We've already made two. The gold one and the red one. Boom. Jelly roll. Jelly roll. But we're going to use this in a project, so. And I know these are really odd colors. I'm hoping this piece works out. Again, it's something in my head that I'm envisioning. There's still a little distortion on the end here. And these need to rest a while because this pinky color is really soft. Now, there's an air bubble right there. If you get air bubbles, slice into it until you feel that air pocket and then just push the air out. And it does happen.